Good morning, folks. There we go. Good morning. All right. It's Monday, and so happy Monday. Hope your week is going to go swimmingly. This weekend, I became a grandma again. I have a granddaughter who came into the world yesterday. Her name is Bryn, and so yay for babies. So my weekend was fabulous. And thanks, Jacqueline. Yeah, being a grandma is the best. It's my second grandbaby. So Briar, my first baby, is a big brother. So yeah, I'm over the moon about that. So I am a little bit distracted today because of that, because babies. But that's okay. It's a good distraction. So today, the plant today is milk thistle. Now, this is going to be different today because one of the things about milk thistle, so these right here, these are milk thistle seeds, right? So milk thistle seeds are the medicine. You will see the leaf available. The leaf is available but from herb suppliers. Some people use it. It's a bitter, and it is a fabulous liver tonic. It's a very, very good liver tonic, similar to artichoke leaf, right? It's a very close cousin is artichokes. Mickey, hi, congratulations. You'll be there next week. Oh, stop in. Oh, good. Yay. You have 8 grandchildren, Rosa. Oh, so yeah, you're a pro at this. I'm still a newbie at being a grandma, but it's wonderful. So I'm not using the leaf today. I'm using the seed because the seed is the part of milk thistle that holds the most medicine, right? It is the most therapeutic, and it is profound. So we've got a lot of folks who know about herbalism here in the chat. So what do you know about milk thistle? What do you think of when you think of milk thistle? And as you're writing that down, I'm going to write on the board. Sorry, again, distracted. All right, so we have milk thistle. This is our plant today. And the botanical name, Silybum marianum. And the family is the Asteraceae family. So liver, Carol Lake, yeah, liver, Rosa, liver, yep, exactly, 10 points to you. Hey, good morning. And Asteraceae family, what family is that? You can answer too. What family is Asteraceae? This is
it's the sunflower.
It's the sunflower family. 10 points to you. Daisy family. That's right, Carol. So yeah, this is a member of the daisy family, of the sunflower family. But the part that we use medicinally, even though you will see the leaf available, we can't apply the information that we have on the seed to the leaf because the leaf is very different medicine. So the seed is what we're using. And here's the thing, this seed, the chemistry of this seed that we're interested in is not water soluble. So we can't make a tea out of this. So I have no tea for you today. There are other ways to use this. We'll use it in other ways, but this is one plant. I kind of thought, maybe I won't do milk thistle because I can't make a tea and serve it and drink it. But it is so valuable that we're going to show how to use it as a whole plant form. But you will often see, go next time you're in like a health food store or an herb store, go into the tea section and look at liver support tea blends And you'll see people put milk thistle in their tea blends, and it should not be there. It does not belong in a tea blend because it is not soluble in water. You can boil that for an hour, and you're not going to get an appreciable amount of the chemistry out of there because the flavonolignans, the compounds that are primarily shown to be therapeutic, are oil soluble. They're soluble in high alcohol. We can eat them. We can ingest them, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be ingesting them and talking about ingesting them. And we're going to be using the tincture. So a tincture is an alcohol extract. You can't make a glycerite out of milk thistle either because glycerin primarily extracts water-soluble compounds. And if you have a non-polar compound, if you have a compound in an herb that's poorly water soluble, it's not going to extract in glycerin. It's not going to extract in vinegar. It'll extract in oil, it'll extract in high proof alcohol, and then we can eat it. Our medicinal qualities across most are all thistles. I think sow thistle is what we have wild here. Yeah, we have sow thistle all over the place here, and lots of thistles. There's a lot of thistles in the Asteraceae family. So everything from sow thistle to artichokes, to milk thistle, to blessed thistle, to the cardus thistle, the edible thistles. So yeah, there's a lot of them. They are all very good for liver support. Even the sow thistle is good for liver support. Sow thistle, very closely related to dandelion, right? So there's kind of that bridge. And dandelion is medicine for the liver also, right? If you want to make a tea for liver support, use the leaves of these other plants, use dandelion root, use milk thistle leaf, but still with none of these plants are you going to be getting the effects of the milk thistle seed that really is specific to milk thistle seed. Now, milk thistle seed is also pretty closely related to sunflower seeds. And sometimes you get milk thistle seeds that look like this, that have a little coating on them. It looks just like a little teeny tiny sunflower seed because they are so close. No, it's like, find it on the black carpet. But generally, they are going to look like this. So we are going to taste the seeds. We're just going to eat the seeds because they are like sunflower seeds. We can just eat them. Oh, eyes open. Thank you. Thank you. So we can eat them. They are little sunflower seeds. So if you chew on them,
They taste a bit like sunflower seeds.
they taste like sunflower seeds.
Yeah. They're less oily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In sunflower seeds, we would usually be taking off the outer hull. And here we have that outer hull. It's very thin and it's edible, but it is giving us some of that. But yeah, it's fatty and proteinaceous, not as oily as sunflower seeds because we don't have that outer hull. Fibrous, it's crunchy. They are totally edible. And this is my favorite way to use milk thistle, is like this. In fact, I make an herbal trail mix. I need to do a class on my herbal trail mix because I'm getting really obsessed with it because it's really, really yummy. Hi, Con. Yes, the video has started. Yeah, eating them like this is going to be one of the primary ways that I like to use them. So what do you taste in this? You said it tastes like sunflower.
It does, but it also reminds me of oatmeal.
Oatmeal. Yeah.
It tastes very familiar.
Yeah.
But I know I don't think I've eaten this before.
Yeah.
It tastes really familiar.
Yeah. It tastes like seeds.
Yeah.
Because it's seeds. And the thing about seeds, all seeds of plants contain lots of oils, right? That's where most of our oils come from. And when we talk about oils generally, we're talking about plant lipids. When we talk about fats, generally, we're talking about animal lipids. So lipids being the class of fatty compounds, right? So oils, generally plants, fats, generally animals, and most oils from plants come from seeds. Seeds are known for storage of those fats. So yeah, there are fats, there are fatty acids in here, and you can sort of taste them. That is that kind of foody flavor, and also that protein in there. That is it has like you said that very food-like feel to it. So fats, there aren't fatty acids that are unique here. It's mostly oleic acid, which is an omega-9 fat found primarily in olive oil. Stearic acid, which is a saturated fat. It's found in the saturated fat things like tropical oils. And linolenic acid, which is a really common omega-6 fatty acid. So the fatty acids, there's no unique fatty acids. The chemistry of the fatty acids, not really important. It's the fatty acid chemistry of seeds. So eat seeds, you'll get the fats that are in there. Are they beneficial fats? Sure, but there's other ways of getting them. The unique compounds in milk thistle are these fat soluble, because fat is the primary chemistry of seeds. The fat soluble compounds called flavonolignans. Flavonolignans, they are flavonoid lignin complexes. Flavonolignans, these are the primary constituents in milk thistle. The reason why milk thistle has such different chemistry than all those other plants that we were talking about is because none of those other ones, nothing else in the Asteraceae family has these specific compounds. They're only found in milk thistle, and they're only found in milk thistle seed. They're not found in the leaf, because the leaf doesn't have fats, right? So the leaf is never going to have fats, and roots don't generally have fats. The roots are never going to have the chemistry here. All right, so these flavonolignans are broadly known as silymarins. So this is what you'll see them kind of grouped under. Silymarins. Like when we talk about estrogens, there's no chemical known as estrogens. There's the family of estrogens and specific ones, right? There's no specific compound called silymarin. These are the silymarin compounds, the flavonolignans that are found in milk thistle. And so you'll see sometimes products that talk about silymarins. The specific silymarins are silibin, silicristin, and silidionin. These are the big three compounds that we love milk thistle for. Now, I try not to reduce plants to single constituents. You know that. I try to really kind of be mindful to not do that. The whole plant is therapeutically active, but these are badass constituents, and they do stuff that nothing else can. All of the other chemistry of milk thistle, as I said, you can find in a sunflower seed, but you can't find these. So silymarins, primarily, we use them for liver support. As you said, as Rosa said, and Carol said, liver support. Milk thistle is one of the only compounds that we have that hits three different categories of therapeutic actions. It is hepatoprotective. It protects the liver. So the root word hepato, that means liver, right? Something that is hepatic, something that has an effect on the liver. So hepatoprotective does just what it says. It protects the liver, so that if we are taking medications that affect liver function, it is going to protect against the side effects of that. I came down yesterday with an ear infection. I haven't had ear infection in decades, but it really, really hurts. It is incredibly painful. I can't even open my jaw without it being very, very painful. So I'm taking ibuprofen this morning because I don't want to be in that much pain. And I'm going to do what I need to be able to like talk here and not be crying as I'm doing so. So I took 200 milligrams of ibuprofen to relieve the pain. And super grateful for medicines. And also ibuprofen is toxic to my liver. Ibuprofen is harmful to the gut also when taken in large amounts. 200 milligrams is a pretty low dosage. I'm only using it for a short period of time. I'm not worried about it. But I was also really, really happy that today I was going to be doing milk thistle because if not, I would be mindfully bumping up my milk thistle intake today anyway, because milk thistle is hepatoprotective. It's going to protect my liver against the side effects, the hepatodamaging side effects of ibuprofen. So it is powerfully hepatoprotective against a wide range of compounds. In fact, there is a mushroom that is very toxic, right? Known as death cap, right? Death cap mushrooms. It's an amanita mushroom. It's called death cap because it kills you. If you eat it, you'll be dead. And you are dead due to liver damage. It is very specific. It goes direct to the liver and it just fries your liver completely. In Europe, there is an injectable concentrated form of milk thistle called Legalon Sil. Syllabum. So Legalon Sil is a commonly used injectable medicine in Europe. It's made by a company called Meadows Pharma, and Meadows is very into herbal medicine. They do a lot of work on herbs, and they've done a lot of clinical research on milk thistle. When people, this is made specifically for when people ingest amanita mushrooms and have liver damage from eating these mushrooms, they go into an emergency room, they're injected with Legalon Sil, and it saves lives. It saves lives. It completely, not completely, but significantly reduces the damaging effects of the death cap mushroom on liver function. It was used in 2007. It was used for the first time in the United States, saved the lives of a family of people who had all ingested death cap mushrooms, and it was given to them. But the FDA has not approved it for use, and so it isn't widely available in hospitals. It should be available in emergency rooms. It should be immediately available. Don't we run the risk of affecting the benefits of the medicine if we take milk thistle? Hi, Lori. Number one, hi. And number two, yes. So anytime we are stimulating liver function, the liver is one of the jobs of liver is to get rid of stuff in the body, right? And so if you have compounds that are cleared through the liver, then increasing liver function can clear certain compounds out of the liver, particularly when you have things that affect and we've talked about this in class before, the cytochrome P450 liver pathway, which milk thistle doesn't do significantly. St. John's wort is largely known for activating that particular pathway. And that pathway through the liver is the most significant one for affecting medication levels in the bloodstream. Milk thistle has a little bit of effect on that pathway, but not hugely. But yes, absolutely. If you're taking a medication that you need to have long-term in your body, you always want to consider not only things that affect the liver, but also things that affect other metabolic pathways, right? Primarily the kidneys. If something is activating kidney function, you want to be sure that any medications that you're taking aren't cleared via the kidneys, because if you're increasing the kidney clearance, you're going to be increasing clearance of those meds out of the body. So anytime you're taking any herb that affects a metabolic pathway and you're taking medications that are cleared via that pathway, what are called the pharmacokinetics of a medicine. You want to look at the pharmacokinetics of medications that you're taking and make sure that they're compatible with the herbs that you're taking. Absolutely. That being said, if I'm taking something like ibuprofen, I don't care. I'm taking a low dosage. I'm just taking it for symptomatic relief. And if it's clearing it out of my body, I'll take more. I'm still going to be getting the effects that I want and the protection that I want. Yeah, but yeah, thank you. Very good question there.
Concentrated. So if someone were to accidentally ingest a death cap and we couldn't get like blood still, I'm guessing that just like eating the seeds or the
tincture.
Could it actually work?
That's what I would do because we don't have access
so
to it.
It's probably not as good, but it could. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And that's what I give friends who are going, hunting for mushrooms. I always give them bottles of milk thistle. It's like, humor me on this. Just take it with you. So yes, absolutely. I would take it and take it in large amounts, right? I would like swill an ounce bottle full of it. Yeah, knock that back. Yeah, get a large amount into your body. Okay, so they are hepatoprotective. So they also have, one of the other ways that they're hepatoprotective is they increase levels of compounds called metalloproteins. These are proteins that your liver produce that bind with metals, heavy metals in the environment, things like cadmium and lead and mercury. They bind with those and they reduce their bioavailability in the body. So they are, in that way, they are also protecting not only the liver, but the whole body against detrimental effects of certain heavy metals. So hepatoprotective. It is also hepatodetoxifying. And this is kind of speaking to Lori's point. So it's increasing clearance, it's increasing the liver's ability to move metabolic waste out of the body, to move heavy metals, to move hormones, to remove all of the things that the liver's job is to clear out of the body. It is going to be improving that detoxification. And it does it through a number of different pathways. One of the primary ones that we're interested in, would it clear existing high lead levels in the body? So the problem with heavy metals, it would help, it would be part of a protocol. The problem is they tend to be kind of secreted into tissues and they hang out there. And so one of the ways that metals are cleared out of the body, and there are multi-step protocols for that. You want to kind of activate them and get them kind of moving in the system before you clear them out. And that is really dangerous because when you're moving them in the system, they're now active and they're moving in the system. Now they're available to the metabolism. So whenever you're dealing with heavy metal toxicity, you really want to work with practitioners who can create a protocol that will help with metal toxicity. I would do it if I had high lead levels. I would certainly take this because it's not activating all of that. It's not moving everything up into the system and increasing that toxicity. But it also probably wouldn't be the strongest thing for clearance of lead. You want to look at chelation type protocols that are going to be chelating or binding and pulling metals out of the bloodstream. But while you're doing that, you're having to take a lot of things. Yeah, it's just a big complex thing. But look into that. Look at chelation therapy. Yeah.
Would you take it with antibiotics?
So I would take it after a course of antibiotics. If you're taking antibiotics, you want them to do their job, right?
Yeah.
So, and this kind of is in accord with what Lori was taking. If you need to have specific effects. Now, again, it would depend on how those antibiotics are cleared out of the body, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know the answer to that. Mm-hmm. But I would take them after, you do a 10-day course of antibiotics and then you're done. Get rid of all of that. We had to do that. I'm glad we have it available to us, but also now we need to kind of go, sorry, body, sorry, we had to do that, but now we're going to eat from and heal the gut and take milk thistle. Why not? Why not get stuff out of your bloodstream, because you want that out as quickly as possible. So yeah, I would pretty much any time where you feel like I just did something and now I need to clean up. This would be definitely one of the things that I would do. Along with it, fiber. So the way that it is, one of the primary ways that milk thistle is hepatodetoxifying is it is a choleretic. It is increasing levels of bile. So increases bile dumping by the liver. It makes the liver produce more bile, and then that bile gets dumped. Now, it gets dumped in the gallbladder. The gallbladder concentrates and stores bile, and then the gallbladder secretes bile into the intestinal tract. So choleretics increase the dumping of bile from the gallbladder, and they also increase the formation of bile in the liver. So you're getting more bile movement. And bile, one of the ways that the liver dumps stuff, it is the waste product. It's also an emulsifier of fats. So it's really helpful for fatty liver conditions, right? The liver's job is to clear fats out of the body, or one of the liver's jobs. And so people sometimes have what is called fatty liver disease, right? Elevated cholesterol, elevated triglycerides, right? Whenever you're seeing elevated levels of blood fats or elevated levels of fatty tissue in the liver is not able to clear those fats and is instead storing them. Taking things that are choleretic, taking things that are improving bile dumping is going to improve that waste movement, and we'll see beneficial effects on those blood fats. Often the antibiotics are still working after the allotted time taken. Well, that's also one of the problems with it, right? Is you don't necessarily, take them for the full length of time, but I don't want them working after that. I want to go in and repair the body and say, sorry, we had to do that. Now we're on to a new level. I had a gallbladder removed last year. Would you be cautious with this? Sort of, no, here's the thing. So if you have a gallbladder removed, you still have a liver that produces bile. You still have a digestive system that needs bile. Your liver is still dumping bile. What you've lost is the gallbladder, which is the storage mechanism for bile, right? So you are not able, think of the gallbladder as a bank account, right? So the gallbladder holds that bile, concentrates it, reduces it down, makes it more strong, and then holds it so that when you have a high-fat meal coming in, right? You have all this fat coming in your, it goes down into your intestines, and they go, wow, we need a lot of help with this fat. Dump us down some extra bile, and the gallbladder will do that. It'll dump more bile that emulsifies fat and makes them better able to be absorbed and used. You can absorb and use the fat-soluble nutrients in there, the beneficial fatty acids that are in there, all the good fats, and it's going to help with digestion and clearance of fats. So without that gallbladder, you just have a liver that's producing bile, and it goes directly into the small intestine, right? So it's just kind of trickling down there. You never get a high concentration. So you probably know that it can be hard on your system to have high-fat meals because you don't have that concentrated storage of bile. But if you take a choleretic plant before your meals, if you take, choose some milk thistle seeds or take a shot of the tincture, then you're going to dump more bile from your liver right then, and it may be available in a higher quantity when you have fats coming in your meal. So that's what I generally recommend that people do. If you've had your gallbladder removed, take things that increase bile production right before your meals to help with emulsifying those fats, breaking down those fats, and improving the absorption and utilization of fat-soluble nutrients. This is one of the problems with having that gallbladder removed, is that quite often we see increased deficiencies in beta-carotene and vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, essential fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6s, all of those because the body can't emulsify them and break them down and digest them appropriately. So you're going to increase your nutritional status by using those. So it's not problematic for your gallbladder. I'm so glad that you asked that with meals like that. Right. So bitter herbs also are very beneficial for that. So bitter herbs and milk thistle as a tincture, take those before your meals. So it is hepatoprotective. It is hepatodetoxifying. This is also an important pathway to increase if you have issues of estrogen dominance, right? Too much estrogen in the body, that is the liver's job to clear excess estrogen out of the body, and it specifically uses bile to clear that estrogen. So estrogen dominance issues are things like PMS, but we can also think of fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, breast cancer, breast tenderness, breast fibroids, all of these things, just the pissiness and irritability of PMS and acne and all of the things that come along with certain types of PMS, which are associated with elevated estrogen or estrogen dominance. Increased breast liver function, and specifically using milk thistle is going to be beneficial. How long do you think it takes for an herb to help your liver produce significantly more bile? Hi Des. Hi. I think it's pretty quick. And you can tell this because it has a stool softening effect. And this initial stool softening effect of taking milk thistle is because of that bile dumping. So you can often notice, and I will tell people for the first couple of days that they start taking milk thistle, I'll tell them, watch for that and even increase the dosage until you get that, right? Because once you see that change in bowel function, you think there's bile production right there. So, but I've seen that within a day or so with taking milk thistle as a tincture. I've not seen it with the seeds. One of the things along with this hepatodetoxifying effect, if you're taking milk thistle seeds for that, you do want to also increase your fiber intake. Eat more fiber. So, flax seeds or psyllium husks or whatever, not just eating more fruits and vegetables, because really fruits and vegetables are mostly water, and it's really, really hard to get a significant amount of fiber, a therapeutic amount of fiber, just from eating fruits and vegetables. And you can tell that by filling up a pot with greens and heating it up and letting them wilt, and they go whoop down like that, or onions, whoop, right? So that's mostly water, and it's a good source. Plants are a good source of fiber, but if you need a therapeutic amount, go to a seed coating like flax seeds or psyllium husks or something like that, and take them, because the liver is producing the bile is grabbing on stuff, it's dumping in the intestines, but now you need to get the stuff out of the intestines. You need to poop all that stuff out, because there is a possibility of it being reabsorbed through that intestinal lining back up into the bloodstream if you don't clear it out. So make sure that you are pooping more, not just relying on the bile for a stool softening effect. That can be really beneficial for some people. And it's one of the other beneficial effects of taking milk thistle. It is a mild laxative. And so for many people who need a laxative effect but don't want to be taking laxative herbs, this is a great thing to try at the beginning, but also for some people it's not strong enough, right? Pooping is a complex situation. VC, yay, you finally caught it live. Yay, welcome. Let's see. So if you're the detoxifying combined with what I just said, fiber. And so the third is hepatoregenerative. Can you read down there? Yeah, you can. So, the liver can regenerate itself anyway. The liver is a pretty phenomenal organ and can rebuild itself. It's just that milk thistle is really effective at encouraging that and assisting in that function. It has specific effects also at reducing fibrosis in the liver and possibly in other tissues in the body. stimulating new healthy cell formation. So this combination of effects we just don't see in other liver supportive plants, right? We see one or two of them, but there just aren't that many other plants that do all of these in exactly this way. And that's why really milk thistle is so unique in the liver support category. How much? I think someone asked, how many seeds could one chew per day? You're gonna want to take a lot. If you're eating the seeds specifically, it depends on if you're taking it as a daily support or you're needing to take it for a therapeutic purpose. If you really need a strong therapeutic purpose, I would forego the seeds and I would use either a tincture or use a capsule. There's a lot of capsules of highly concentrated, standardized silamarins, standardized, concentrated for a specific level of activity. And I don't remember the standardization levels of most of the silamarins. Sometimes one of the concerns with standardized plants, for those of you who are not familiar, these are generally supplements of plant medicines where they concentrate the plants down looking for a specific chemical marker like silamarins, and they concentrate until the extract of the herbs gets to a specific level of activity. So it'll be 24% flavonolignin content. And so that you know, every time you take a capsule of that product, it's going to have 24% flavonolignin content as silamarin, and you're going to take 500 to 1500 milligrams of that a day. Again, don't quote me on those dosages. I don't remember the proper standardization because I haven't used it in a while. But that is a therapeutic effect. And again, here, I like whole plant protein. I add whole plant medicine. I advocate generally for whole plant medicine, but with milk thistle, it is primarily the silamarins that we are interested in. The other chemistry of milk thistle is wonderful stuff. It's great stuff, but it's also widely available in other seeds, and so it isn't as important. So here we can use standardized extracts and get a really good effect, a relatively non-toxic effect, a concentrated effect in using the capsules. So there's that. One of the things that you do want to be cautious of if you are using the seeds is that they are fats. There's a lot of fatty acids in here because they're seeds. And one of the primary fatty acids in here is linoleic acid, the omega-6 fatty acid, which is found in a lot of seeds. And the linoleic acid is notoriously unstable. It's an unsaturated fatty acid. It is really subject to oxidation and rancidity. And so you have to be really, really careful about seeds going rancid, because rancid seeds are one of the worst things to put into your body for all of the cell membranes and specifically for your liver, because remember, your liver has to deal with rancid fats, right? So you're putting in a rancid thing into the system that you're trying to support. Therapeutically, I like the Now double strength capsules, 30-to-1 concentrate, 300 milligrams of extract, 240 standardized to 80% silamarin flavonoids. Nice. And they had some dandelion and artichoke, and they're one of the cheaper brands for that high dose. I really like Now Foods. They are regularly, they make good, solid medicines. They're nothing fancy. They're decent prices. And also, folks, Des, Sickness Undefined, is a really excellent herbalist, and you want to listen to her because she knows what she's talking about. Yeah. And you keep seeds and nuts in the fridge. That's not only okay, but that's really, really beneficial. It's really important because seeds and nuts are very high in oils, and oils are really good for you unless they're oxidized, and then they're really, really bad for you. So I too keep all of my seeds and nuts in the fridge. I keep all my oils in the fridge.
Olive oil.
I keep olive oil in the fridge. So one of the keys, olive oil is primarily oleic acid, omega-9 fatty acid, and it solidifies it in cold temperatures, right? So if you put your olive oil, just your bottle like this, into the fridge, it's going to be a solid. So put your olive oil in the fridge, but put it in a wide mouth jar. So you can just reach in with a spoon. and just spoon out your oil instead of pouring your oil. Yeah, that works really well.
How long do you think it takes seeds to go rancid?
I just keep doing this because like, you don't know what spooning something out means. You need me to demonstrate that. Let me show you what a spoon. This is a spoon.
No,
I'm sorry, what was your question?
How
How long?
long do you think you should keep seeds before they go rancid?
So the question is, how long should you keep seeds before you go rancid? Before they go rancid, not you go rancid. If you keep them whole, this applies to most of them. If you keep whole flax seeds or pumpkin seeds or milk thistle seeds, sunflower seeds, they're going to be protected more because it is the structure of the plant. The plant, protects itself. So they're going to last for a pretty long time, certainly a year, especially under refrigeration. At room temperature, especially in our climate where it's warm so often, it's going to be maybe 6 months.
Okay.
Right? It's and it depends on the fatty acids that are in the seeds too. Some are more unstable than others, but most seeds have linoleic acid and it's just notoriously unstable. Best sources for seeds or tinctures. Seeds are widely available. Any herb company will sell seeds. So and also it's an incredibly invasive plant. It is all over our mountains. Our mountains are full of milk thistle seeds. It is quite possible that your mountains, depending on where you live, are full of milk thistle. Milk thistle is everywhere and it takes over and it makes these beautiful thistles, these beautiful purple flowers. They're so lovely. And they produce seeds because they're a composite flower. Each little flower in the seed head is each little bloom in the seed head in the inflorescence is a specific seed and is a specific flower, and they all make seeds. Think of sunflower seed heads, right? So each flower, lots and lots of seeds. Those seeds fall down, they make little babies. Those babies grow up to be big plants. Those plants produce a lot of flowers. Each one of those flowers produces a lot of seeds. They fall down, and pretty soon you have a mountainside covered with milk thistle. So you can harvest milk thistle around you. The caution to that is it is a invasive, problematic plant, and it's likely that somewhere where it's growing has been sprayed. Exactly. Exactly. And so you want to check with whoever maintains that spot. If you go out and you tell them, hey, I want to harvest milk thistle, if they haven't sprayed, they would be overjoyed with you taking milk thistle off their property. That every seed that you take is going to be a plant that's not there. But also, it's really difficult to process milk thistle seeds. So my favorite way of doing it is to put a bag over the seed head and cut it off and just let it fall into the bag. Fill up the bag that way, dump it into a pillowcase that you keep for just this purpose. Dump it in a pillowcase, tie the pillowcase closed, throw it on the ground, get into your car, run the car back and forth over it. You're breaking up all of those flowers. I mean, you let them dry first. Break up all those flowers. Get out, put on a mask, put on goggles, pour it out of there. Now you have all of the papas, all of the white floaty stuff. Think of dandelions, right? Dandelion papas. This is a plant related to dandelions. It makes a lot of papas, and it has so many little pointy spines on it. It's really painful to try to process seeds out of there. So if you roll your car over it and then dump it out and winnow it, just shake it around to get rid of all of the chaff and the papas and everything, you'll be left with a little bit of seeds. You'll have done a lot of work for a little bit of seeds. You want to take those seeds, put them in a jar and throw them in the freezer right away, because it's likely that those seeds have worms in them, because they are high in proteins and fats, and those are precious nutrients that every living organism wants. And so if there's seeds, there's going to be there's going to be bugs in there. So throw them in the freezer to kill the bugs. If you don't do that, then your precious little jar of seeds that you bought, you're going to put into your apothecary and come back in a couple of days and it's going to be filled with bugs. It'll be gross. So don't think about it too much when you're throwing in the freezer. Just put them in the freezer and just be okay with that. And it'll be fine. And then you will be very grateful that you can buy a pound of milk thistle seeds from Mountain Rose Herbs for $15. You'll be like, yay, it is absolutely worth paying an herb farm or an herb company to harvest my milk thistle for me. But, it's nice to be able to do things on your own if you want to. So you can harvest your own. You can buy them from a supplier. These seeds came from Pacific Botanicals up in Oregon. Most of my suppliers seem to be up in Oregon. But most companies are going to. Tinctures, you can make your own tincture, or you can buy tinctures. Tinctures need to be made with a high alcohol content. One of the things when you're buying tinctures, there's a lot of people who make all of their tinctures with 40% alcohol. It's just kind of standard. You'll read about that in books. Lots of books will tell you how to make tinctures and they'll say, extracted in brandy, extracted in vodka. That's fine, 80 proof vodka. These are constituents that are poorly soluble in water. And if you're using vodka, vodka is mostly water. It's generally 40% alcohol, 80 proof. The proof is double the percentage of alcohol. So it's generally 40% alcohol, 60% water. And all that water in there will not extract the selamerins. You need a high alcohol content. So we make ours at 75% alcohol. That's kind of standard, 1 to 3. 75% is how we make our tincture. And that's what you want to look for. If you do buy a tincture, look around. One of my favorite tincture companies is Herb Farm. Herb Farm's great. Vitality Works is great. Gaia is great. There's a lot of great tincture suppliers, but there's a lot of crappy ones. So just look for those numbers. It should have a high alcohol percentage. 75% is pretty good. 75 to 80% is what you want to look for. And avoid them if they're made with 40%. So that's your best sources or what to look for with your seeds. So let's see. So what do we then use milk thistle for, right? So we know how it's used and why it's used. It's used for the liver. So we can think of liver support issues. So the liver has hundreds of different functions in the body, but generally we're going to use it for detoxification. If there's a presentation that the body has that is due to elevation of waste products in the system, milk thistle is going to be very beneficial for that. One of them that milk thistle is very specific for is psoriasis. So there's a number of different ways that milk thistle is beneficial specifically for psoriasis. And I think we were talking about liver support last week. Were we talking about liver support? Oh, you were. Oh no, that's Elizabeth. In moisture, in holding moisture in the system. And one of you, I think it was Teresa, was saying to support liver for eczema, for psoriasis. And absolutely you want to do that. We were talking about energetics and we were talking about moisture, availability of moisture, but it is really important to support liver function whenever you have eruptive skin conditions like that, because that is oftentimes an issue of elevated waste, elevated inflammatory compounds in the body that's just presenting in the skin. So with psoriasis specifically, there's three areas that it can help with psoriasis. 1 ounce of seeds to 3 ounces of vodka. No, not vodka, unless, so if you want to use Everclear. Rosa, you live in Texas, right? You should be able to get a 75% alcohol. Do you have 75% alcohol available to you? Everclear makes a 151 Everclear. If you want to buy one from the liquor store, or any kind of, or rum, 151 rum. But unless you can get vodka that is 75% alcohol, I can't find Everclear in Puerto Rico, only 151 rum, 75% alcohol. So yeah, that's fine, Marcos. Also, hi, Marcos. yeah, it seems reasonable that you'd get rum in Puerto Rico. But that would be perfect. 150 rum, one rum is exactly fine. And you would use exactly the numbers that Rosa said. So 1 ounce of seeds to 3 ounces of 151 rum, or whatever your alcohol is. Grind the seeds up and add them to that. Or you can grind the seeds up and sprinkle them on your food. So I have a grinder here, and I'm going to grind some of these so that we can kind of see what that's like. This is what I use it, how I use it very often as well. Because some people, tinctures work well. Some people with liver disorders can't take alcohol, right? So they need an option, and a glyceride isn't an option, and a tea isn't an option. A capsule is an option, or the powder is an option. So you just put them into a grinder. I'm going to grind these. It's going to be loud. Sorry. But it's just going to take a moment. Yeah, I love NutriBullets. They're just wonderful. And I also like these ground pretty rough. So these are ground now. And you can take this ground here. I thought I had a.
So that's looking at it.
You can look at it even more closely.
Should I eat it?
Yeah. Yeah. Just taste some. So this, you can just sprinkle it on food. I make a very good gomasio, salt and seed ground up. I use milk thistle seeds and nettle seeds and salt, grind them up, and then add in nettle leaf and dandelion leaf and garlic and lemon peel and seaweed and all of that. It's just an all-purpose. I need to make it for sale in the shop, because I make it for my students. And it's the best stuff. You can just sprinkle it on everything, because it's rich, right? Because it's got that fatty, proteinaceous taste and feel to it. It's salty, it's aromatic, it's spicy, it's garlicky and seaweedy and cayenne spicy, and you can make it however you want. You can throw oregano and rosemary, so you get those aromatics in there. It's everything, but it's primarily nettle seed and milk thistle seed, the primary compounds for liver and kidney support. And you sprinkle it on popcorn. It's so good on popcorn. It is yummy, yummy on popcorn. Yeah, it goes on my salads, it goes on my sandwiches, it goes on my soup, it goes everywhere. It is wonderful. Now, eyes open. You did not finish the psoriasis thought. Thank you, Acadian Homestead. So I'll finish the psoriasis and then get back to the powder, and then we'll talk about the tincture. So the liver reduces specific inflammatory compounds called leukotrienes, which trigger psoriasis growth, right? So psoriasis is a hyper proliferation of cells as a factor of autoimmune reactivity. The immune system's pissed off, and this is the way that it's presenting itself. So you have this hyper proliferation of tissues. And part of that is elevated leukotrienes. And milk thistle is specific for blocking leukotriene activity in the body that triggers psoriasis. Another way is that the milk thistle, specifically if it's combined with sarsaparilla, both milk thistle and sarsaparilla reduce production of endotoxins. Endotoxins are waste products from gut microflora, pathogenic gut microflora, waste products that tend to accumulate in the body and present as psoriasis and other eruptive skin disorders. Acne also we see as part of that. So it helps there. And then regulating cellular metabolism, helping just to stabilize the cells and get rid of waste products there. It is a specific for a psoriasis protocol, one of the plants that we would use for that. So, milk thistle and burdock and sarsaparilla and things like that, and then immune regulators. But it would definitely be something that you would use. Do you need to grind the seeds for it to be effective? No, Con, you don't have to grind them, but you need to chew them, right? So either grind or chew. You want to break those cell walls open so that you can get the stuff that's on the inside. So pre-ground, they're just already ground for you. So if you're just like knocking them back, it's already done. Now the downside to this, Teresa, hey, good to see you. Teresa, were you the one who was talking about liver and eczema last week? Because we just brought up, I thought it was you. It's milk thistle. Milk thistle is, there we are. That's our plant for today. Eyes open, you asked how long the seeds last. If we're keeping them whole, about a year. If you grind them, now you've exposed those constituents to air and light and oxidative processes. So this is much more subject to rancidity. So you don't want to buy pre-ground seeds. If possible, you want to grind your own. And then you'd want to keep them refrigerated because now you've opened them up and exposed those fats. And we know that some of the fats in here are particularly subject to rancidity. So use up really quickly, right? What does really quickly mean? It depends entirely on your environment, right? How hot wherever you live is, the time of year, how quickly you use it. I like to generally, if I'm not going to refrigerate them, I like to use ground seeds up within a week. If you refrigerate them, you can grind a lot of them and just keep in the refrigerator or freezer. And then they're going to be a lot more stable. And then you can keep them for a couple of months and just check for rancidity pretty regularly. I've done the milk thistle capsules for 3 months, but didn't see much difference. So Teresa, check with Des, Sickness Undefined, posted some concentrations, some label copy that you should look for on your capsules to see if you have a standardization that makes for a therapeutic dosage. Because if they were just grinding these seeds and throwing them into a capsule, right? If it was a whole seed in a capsule, here's one of the other problems with whole seed or whole plant medicine here. If you were to grind these seeds up and throw them in a capsule and throw them in a bottle and sit them on a shelf, well, now you've got seeds with a lot of fats that are now exposed and they're going to go rancid, and you're not going to taste that rancidity because you're popping capsules. Right? So you never have an opportunity to say, oh, this tastes a little funky. I can feel kind of the burning on my tongue that is often an indicator of rancidity, or I can't smell it. You can't, it's inside a capsule. So anytime you're dealing with something that's high fat in a capsule, you always want to open them up and test them pretty regularly. This even goes for like flaxseed oil capsules and fish oil capsules. Bite them open and taste them regularly because even though they're hermetically sealed in there, oils go rancid, and rancid oils are so bad for you. Yeah, and you do have to eat a lot of them. You have to eat a couple of tablespoons of, if you're needing a therapeutic dosage. So here again, your need will define how much you're going to be taking. If you have fatty liver disease, you're going to be wanting to take spoonfuls of the powder, and certainly capsules would be so much better in that case because you need a therapeutic dosage, and it's hard to get that with the powder. On the other hand, if you're just looking for liver support, then yeah, just eat the seeds, eat the liver. Anything that you're going to take is going to be better than not taking any. And I find it pretty easy to get about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of the seeds every day. I just pour them in the Apothecary. I'll pour some into one of my little cups, and I just nibble on them until it's gone for the day. Or I make the trail mix. All right, so there you go. There's milk thistle for you. Teresa, sorry you're late, but you've got a whole video to watch. It will cover that. And let's see, next week is mullein. Here we're going into fire season, so mullein is going to be really important. We already have so many. I smelled smoke on Saturday. I had a cloud over just into like Torrance, Cerritos area. There were so many little brush fires. So yeah, we'll talk about mullein leaf, and also mullein root and mullein flower. Lots of different medicines that come from mullein. So thanks, you guys. It's so fun to hear. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, I'll see you next Monday. Have a good week. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.